Hello traders, Katie is here. In today's video, I will show you the strategy that I gave to my student for training. This was specifically his first strategy with which he started. It is quite easy to learn. Today I will tell you about it and show you in practice how to trade with it and how to use it. Also, you now see a review on your screen. My student's name is Troy and we see that he has about $5,000 in his hands. That's how much he had already earned by this moment in his first training session. About the training, you can contact my Telegram channel, the link to which is in the description of this video, and perhaps you will become my next review in the next video after completing the training. And we're starting, guys. Here we are, as always, we are on TradingView to quickly analyze our strategy. As I told, Troy gave the strategy with which was quite simple and uncomplicated. It consisting in combining three factors. First, technical analysis, second, indicator fractal, and the third indicator called RSI. We combine all this and get a wonderful and simple strategy. Let's start with the technical analysis. It's all pretty standard. This is the resistance level, the support level, volume of candles, shadows, number of candles, variety of the general chart. This sounds quite complicated to many people, but this is quite easy, don't worry. Further, by fractal, we have a technical indicator that is applied to the chart itself, and we see it in the form of arrows, respectively. These are peak niches or points from which a reversal should occur. Of course, in most cases we see a reversal occurs, but in some cases there is no reversal here. So the fractal needs to be combined with technical analysis as well as the other indicators. The second indicator is the RSI, period 30 and 70 overbought and oversold, and the moving average showing in what period, in what direction we are at the moment. So it also helps in opening our trades for a decrease or an increase. This is the whole essence of the strategy. It's quite simple. Well, now we will move as always to pocket option, where we will try to repeat the result of Troy, so from 10 at least, to increase our balance to amount of $500. And we will do this with you in practice on pocket option, and we will show you that this strategy really works. Let's move to pocket option. Here, dear traders, we are already on pocket option, and as always we quickly check all the parameters. We have a trading on currency pairs, the time of course a minute as always. For the video this is ideal. Third one, this is the balance. We have $10, so the transaction amount is also $10. Further, we will increase it as our balance grows. The indicators here are similar, just visually they look like different. Settings, everything standard once. Just go to the indicators tab, turn on two new indicators, and don't have to change the settings. They are ideal for at least a minute time frame. So let's, dear traders, move to the first currency pair with which we start our trading session. Here we are on the first currency pair. Let's open a bullish trade here and proceed to general analysis. By the way, there is a slight decline on progress, but don't worry, the deal hasn't closed yet. And according to the last indicator, a fractal, according to its last point, we see there was a decrease, but as we can see, this is a fake decrease, since it was just one red candle. Besides, it formed a rather large shadow in the bottom position, which indicates that we are more likely to move towards the uptrend. This is very important in our case. The general chart also has a fairly strong volume for the uptrend. By RSI, we have a similar situation. The moving average is aimed at exiting the overbought zone, so beyond the value of 70. And the standard uptrend is clearly supported. Excellent, dear traders, this transaction is closed in plus. We immediately increase our balance to a value of $19.20 and move on to the next currency pair. Here, dear traders, we are on the next currency pair. Here we immediately open a trade for a fall. It's easy, two large candles at once for a decline. The last fractal is green. The shadows from the candles are thinner in relation to the thicker ones. They are also very strong directly upwards, so the upper position is quite strong, which increases the pressure on the downside. And according to the second RSI indicator, a completely similar situation. We are in the consolidation of this indicator, that is between the value of 70 and 30 and clearly directed to the lower position. So this is the simplest deal of these two so far. Let's watch the chart. This deal is also successfully closed as plus. Dear traders, we immediately increase the amount of our transaction to the size of $36.86 and immediately move to the third currency pair. We are already on the third currency pair. We open a bullish trade here and proceed to the general analysis. And here we have a situation at the moment that is swinging, but since our volume of the previous red candle was quite strong, most likely now there will be a rollback. To this rollback, we open the position. The pullback is demonstrated perfectly according to our second indicator called RSI. We see that we are near the average moment. We are aimed specifically at the upper position there, and there we open our trade to go up. This is very important. Here is our upward general trend. There is also a small pullback that is rising now, and at this pullback we have just caught this situation on which we will have a reversal. Along the fractal, of course, for now there is a general drawdown. So the fractal shows completely correctly, but we have a bit of targeted deal. So we will use the technical analysis and also a second indicator called RSI. Excellent, this transaction is also closed for us in plus, dear traders. We immediately increase the amount of our transaction to the size of $70.77 and immediately move on to the next currency pair. Well, by the way, on this currency pair, we see that the fractal still remains red, that is, it was formed new after 4 fractals. This is a very important indicator, and we are moving to the next currency pair where we will continue our trading session. Now we have moved to the next currency pair. Let's open a trade for an increase and proceed to the general analysis. We have now reached a certain general level of support in our chart. Often since the level of support here is quite strong, therefore it's more likely that we will have a reversal. Of course, we were a little unlucky when that we have caught quite a high point, but nevertheless the chart should still grow according to the previous trends. It was growing quite well. The fractal has not yet formed. We see on RSI indicator, and it is perfectly clear that we clearly experiencing an upward trend, and we are starting to grow again to our average line in the value of 50. Let's watch the chart. This transaction was closed also in plus. We again increase the amount of our transaction to the size of $135.88 exactly, the same as our balance, after which we move on to the next currency pair. Also, dear traders, let's quickly sweep the weather. We haven't moved on because in addition to this video I show strategies, I also mark useful chips, new answers, and I always tell you something useful. So you should always watch the video in full to the end. Here is how to determine whether the resistance area is strong or the area of support. I mentioned such a term when analyzing this currency pair. Many will ask the question of how to determine strong or weak. Well, everything is quite simple here, dear traders. Even let me show you a little in previous example. This can be seen by touching specifically our candles. So the chart was on to go down, once touched, pushed off, twice touched, pushed off, 3 touched and pushed off, and has already pushed off quite strongly. This is the essence of determining how strong our support level is, or some level of resistance. Here it stopped, although maybe there is a chart further down, and it's before that he almost reached a little earlier, pushed off. He reached, lasted, pushed off, here again pushed off, and here again and pushed off completely. This is the strength of our chart. This is how strong the resistance area or support area is. Let's close and immediately move on to the next currency pair. Here we are on the next currency pair. We open a deal here for a fall and we begin to explain. Many will have doubts because here we have a clear upward trend. Here is also the last zone. So why we are opening a deal for a fall? I will answer. What has passed since the candle 16 seconds left 44? And our candle is relatively previous, but we are not confident in moving to the upper position. This means that it is quite difficult for it, and a large percentage of what will happen is a reversal. At the first indicator, we don't look, and at the second one either, because it's purely for the moment for technical analysis. It is important to use technical analysis always, and absolutely in any strategies. Let's just watch our chart. This currency pair is excellent. We also have a positive advantage with you. We instantly increase the amount of our transaction to the size of $260.89 and immediately move on to the next currency pair. So we moved on to the next currency pair. Let's open a trade here on the rise and begin the general analysis. As well as we were a little lucky because during the opening of the trade, the candle slightly of our opening turned out to be quite profitable after this currency pair. When I close it successfully, I'm sure that I will close it successfully. I will explain this point a little, and then we see that there is an obvious upward trend according to the last range. The last fractal was also formed in red. By the drawdown, we see the candles have a rather small volume, and in the RSI as well, we have a slight drawdown so far. However, our general situation is in an upward trend. There are the main signals for opening a trade. Let's look at our chart. This trade is excellent, dear traders. It's closing in plus. As I expected, the trade is quite easy in relation to what I said on what stage of the candle to open. This is what I said, opened below, because look at the chart. If you open for a decline, you better open somewhere plus minus in this range. As sooner or later they happen. These are the rollbacks after the fact that the candle closes down. But if you open it here, the candle rolls back and your whole deal is closed unsuccessfully. Remember this factor too. Also works in a mirror way, and in the opposite direction, if you open up, we also see rollbacks. And the second factor, don't forget this, especially beginners very often forget this. In my experience, since I had quite a lot of people in my trainings, and many encourated this error. But this is all in my lessons. This is that when opening a transaction, be sure to watch the time, the transactions until the end of the transaction. Let's say a minute, for example, before the end of the candle is therefore 30 seconds. And it turns out that your trade is closed on the next one, not on you opened on, but on the next one. And there are situations that you really carried out a complete technical analysis and also carried out an analysis using indicators, and indeed you were right that, let's say, this candle closes on minus, so for a decrease, but you didn't take into account the fact that your transaction will close on the next candle, which may go up. You might not have analysis, so this is very important, dear traders. So this is the situation. And we still have one more currency pair left. Let me remind you that our minimum to overcome the balance of $500. We have succeeded so far. Let's increase the amount of the last transaction to a value of just $500 and move on to the last currency pair. Here, dear traders, we will open a downward trade here on the last currency pair and proceed to the general analysis. Here we have a global downward trend, also a downward trend of the last period. The last fractal was formed in red, so red at the bottom of the chart. A small trend happened, but it ended quite quickly and a downward trend began. Also, these candles have an average volume but very huge shadows in the upper position, which puts pressure on our chart, and it will sink even lower. According to the RSI indicator, we have a similar situation. The chart puts pressure on it, and it's also in the lower position. The deal is also quite simple. Let's watch our chart. This deal is excellent, dear traders. We are closing in plus. We see that it is really dipped, but still the deal was just a little bit and could have closed at zero and not in plus. Dear traders, at this stage, let's complete our trading session So accordingly, let's start summing up. Today we increased it from $10 to almost $1,000. Come to my training. Perhaps you will become my next review. Also, before training, I have consultations. Don't worry. So go to the Telegram channel. There is a link to my contacts, my contact of my team. Write to us the word training, and we will tell you everything, or even call you. We usually do this. So, dear traders, the Telegram link is in the description. I hope you can do it too. Test it, write comments, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Good luck to everyone. Bye bye.